please refer them to Autumn. Do not answer their questions. Refer them to Autumn. Or you can like take down their name, which news station, get their contact information, and when their deadline is, and give that to Autumn. Camper enrollment forms. Each child will have a complete enrollment form on the site. Make sure to review the files for important information and share with the staff. Health information, custody, that sort of thing. The custody thing is a big thing that we deal with more regularly than you think. So make sure you get those questions and answers if you need to ahead of time. Let them know the designated contact person that will get back to them as soon as possible and immediately notify. Just kidding, that's the wrong part. Yeah. So the enrollment forms go on every field trip and will go outside to field trip locations that's not left on the bus. So a missing child. Each counselor will be responsible for the supervision and safety of those children assigned to him or her. Roll call shall be taken constantly throughout the program time. Use the following procedure when a camper is discovered missing. So after a buddy check, a child is missing, and again, this is not just necessarily waterfront, this is at any time. So after a buddy check, a child is missing, ask a member of the group and their close friends if they know where the child is. Also check with other counselors. Report the child missing to the site director, who then will check the office for early departure records or see if the child went home sick. They'll check the day's attendance records, because maybe, who knows, that child never was actually here today. You'll blow the whistle 3 times and record the initial time. Keep the groups assembled and orderly assure proper supervision of the groups. Have 2 staff stay with the children at a certain location while the other staff search. Stay calm. Panic is contagious. If you're calm, the kids will stay calm, but if you start freaking out, they will freak out. Divide the area up quickly and search, meeting back at a specific location. Check the last known location: bathroom, swimming pool, playground. Remember, it's everyone's job to assist in finding a missing child. If after the initial steps the camper is still missing, the site director will call the SAC director, and then the executive director will be notified. The SAC director will call attention or additional staff and will notify local authorities and parents. Fire safety. So evacuation. All center staff should be familiar with the fire, tornado, and emergency evacuation routes. When the alarm sounds, all groups need to leave the room, whether it's a drill, false alarm, or real emergency. Children line up quietly. The teacher trims off the lights, closes the door, and follows the route directions posted in the room. Each teacher will be responsible for the sign-in and out sheets for the group of their children. These sheets verify daily attendance and should accompany each teacher in an emergency. When the alarm sounds, all extra staff not with the group need to help out in the infant, toddler, and 2-year-old rooms. Ignore that part, because that is not us. Make sure you watch for the A-OK sign to re-enter the room or the building. In an event of an emergency evacuation and the children's safety is in jeopardy, the director will contact emergency personnel who will assist us in transporting the children to the nearest safe location. In the event of a tornado, evacuate room and go to the co-ed family locker room. Does everyone know where that is?
Yes.
So it's on that first floor. If you go in entrance A, go all the way to the other side where there's adult women's, women of all ages, staircase, office, children's co-ed, men of all ages. So that's if you're in the Y. Emergency telephone numbers will be posted by each phone. Every room needs to make sure they have an emergency exit plan posted. Monthly fire and tornado drills are required and must be documented on the, you guys will all have like a red, it won't necessarily be red, but it'll be the fire tornado drill check sheet. All staff should be familiar with the location and operations of fire alarm boxes, reporting a fire, and having knowledge of all fire exits. So fire extinguishers, this one I really need you guys to pay attention to, because this is something that the licensor is really gonna hound on, is that you guys actually know how to use a fire extinguisher. You just remember the acronym PASS. So you pull the pin of the fire extinguisher, you aim it at what you are going to put out, You squeeze the handle and you sweep it at the base of the fire, not at the top of the fire, but at the base of the fire until the fire goes out. That's how you use fire extinguisher. So you pull a pin, you aim it, you squeeze the trigger, and you sweep. Any questions? Can you all remember pass? Okay, I'll make sure I'll answer that tomorrow. Fire alarms and smoke detectors will be maintained in good working order and tested by maintenance personnel. Space heaters are prohibited. Off-site fire emergency action plan. The first person seeing a fire should sound 3 blows of your whistle. All kids should get into their buddies and line up and head for the bus if in a safe location after a head count. 2 staff members will escort the children to the bus, and the remaining staff will gather up bag supplies to load the bus if safe to do so. Site director will notify EMS of the location and size of the fire. The site director should notify the SAC director of the situation. If leaving the location is not an option, children should be led to a safe location until EMS have arrived and notify safe environment, when the environment is safe to leave. Site director should notify EMS of location. That's just a deal over there. Okay, medication. Some kids do have some medical conditions that can be dangerous if the warning signs are ignored. Some examples are ADD, food allergies, peanut allergies, asthma, red dye, bee stings, etc. So check with people to make sure that you know what all of your, like what diagnoses or conditions your children have.
That doesn't have anything to do with bacon, so I'll just ask you after.
Okay, don't forget, because I probably will. Make sure you have a plan in place. Know what to do if something happens. Like if you start seeing those signs, know what to do in that case. For example, Wild Pond and Specialty Camp met with a mom because her child has PKU, so she can't consume protein. So they asked a lot of good questions about like, well, what does it look like? What happens if she eats protein? And got those answers. Worst case scenario. So we would know what to do if that happened. Children who need to take medication during the day have to have a med authorization form completed by the parent. Prescription medicine must, again, be in the original container and labeled with the child's name. Name of the drug, dosage, directions for administering, date prescribed, and the physician's names. So all medicine should be kept out of the reach of children at all times with the first aid supplies. Where do we keep our medicines? Lockbox, yep. So for example, Clubhouses is right on top of the cupboard with the key in it. You don't want to keep the key in the lockbox. Please, whatever you do, decide as a staff where you're going to keep the key so everyone knows. Where should you keep it though?
With you?
Nope. Like in your pink bin, okay? Your pink like medical supply bin, that's where your key should be so everyone knows where it is. So we don't have to take a hammer and screwdriver to get the medicine for the child out. And then maintenance looks at you funny. So all medicine must be accompanied by a medication form that has been filled out by either the doctor or guardian. All medication dispersed to be immediately documented in the med log. So if you give a kid a medicine, you have to document that in the med log. You should not dispense any of your own non-prescription meds to YMCA participants, either children or adult. For example, if a kid's like, oh, I have a headache, and you're like, oh, I have some ibuprofen in my bag, go ahead and have some. No, don't do that. Okay? Staff, this includes any over-the-counter meds for allergies or headaches. In the event a child has a potential life-threatening allergy or condition that requires an EpiPen or inhaler, the YMCA recommends that parents send a secondary EpiPen to be carried by the child's assigned staff at all times. So with that being said, we're going to touch base on 2 of the more prominent things that you may run into this summer with children. And that is asthma and then like anaphylactic shock with an EpiPen. Has everyone seen what an EpiPen looks like? This is a trainer, so there's nothing in it, there's no needle. How do I use this? Okay, but like, can I just do that right now? What do I have to do first? Okay, you have to take the cap off. And then, most children that have an EpiPen know how to use it. The rule of thumb is wherever your like hand falls in like your upper thigh, because that's like the most meaty part of your leg or whatever. So you just drop it and you hold it in for 10 seconds. Okay? And that's like the biggest thing to note with kids is make sure they hold it in for 10 seconds. Why do they have to hold it in for 10 seconds? Yep, so all of the epinephrine gets into them, yep.
How hard do you put it?
You just literally like,
Okay.
yes, and that's what I did last summer.
So kids do it?
We have to guide their hand, don't we?
Again, that's gonna have to, you have that conversation with the parents.
Oh.
Because there are some kids that are very much uncomfortable administering themselves. The first time I ever had to administer it for myself, I couldn't. I was like, somebody else gotta do it, just stab me, I don't care. Because I couldn't do it. I could not stab myself. And then like having that mindset even as an adult to remember to hold it in for 10 seconds, that's the big part. So I will pass this around if you wanna like see how it feels.
Practice well. It's supposed to be like a slow thing.
Yeah, so there's no needle, there's no medicine, it's a trainer that comes with
This
it.
trainer, right? Okay.
Yes.
No medicine, no needle.
Question, would you like take your pants off? Like, do you,
No.
So you could do it through your pants?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, do not take their clothes off. No, it's a legit, even like thicker like jeans or like work pants, it'll go through that.
Okay, sorry.
It's
Not like.
it's a short needle, but it's a
Does that hurt?
I mean you're stabbing yourself with a needle. It's short, but it's like a thick needle.
Does it feel like a shot?
No. I don't know. Like your brain is not thinking about like how does this feel right now? You're like, I'm gonna stab myself so I can breathe.
And then you call 911, right?
Yes. Yeah, you should.
Those are
Cause
really-
I did not call 911 last summer.
You're supposed to, aren't you?
I went to the hospital.
It was her. Yeah, I wasn't excited. It was her.
Yeah.
It was her that was allergic, not a kid.
Talk to the parents.
Parents don't answer.
No, like before it happens. Have that conversation. Because there are some parents that are super adamant about like do not call 911 because they don't want to pay for the ambulance ride. Because it is not cheap. Yes.
I have a theoretical question. So if you take a bag with really bad, do we take, and then you go to the hospital, do we take them?
Like if it's life threatening.
Yeah. Sure.
And in your
Like,
directions
does someone else
binder,
come with, or do we just take the kid?
would you just take the kid alone?
Life threatened, yeah.
I would like try to take another counselor with you.
Then what if you're not a ratio though?
That's a good one.
Cause there's only 3 of us, so.
Yeah, but with two.
Oh. Well, that's why you're.
That makes sense. Yeah, you guys have the other staff that need to probably just follow in your room. But they're not gonna be on site. Then you'd have to make a call, just a call. Probably call yours. And they don't all look like that.
Less than myself.
What did you just do?
I put it back in. But once you like stab yourself with an actual pen, you can't put it back in. But like, so the needle is technically out then, and then this covers the needle. So the needle is not exposed.
Oh, like after?
Right. So it's like contained.
What do you do with it after?
Sharps container.
What is that?
There's one in the office across the. Okay, Tim. It's really not that exciting. So again, talk to parents as far as what their procedure is, how they want you to handle it. Can the child do it themselves? Have they done it before? Do they know what they're doing? What happens if they can't do it? What do you want us to do? Okay? Have those conversations ahead of time so if it does happen, you're prepared. Javon,
Do we need gloves for this?
I would. Like, there's not, blood doesn't come like shooting out, but just as a safety precaution. Okay. Just as a good rule of thumb for any first aid that you're providing, always wear gloves. Protect yourself. Other questions on EpiPens? Like I said, they all don't look like that. Is there a difference for adult versus child?
Probably.
Yes.
If
There
you
is.
start to die, what do you want us to do?
Sleepy. No, I will have my EpiPen on me. I can stab myself. I'll tell you if you need to call 911. Otherwise, I prefer to drive myself or have somebody drive me.
My grandparents live right away.
Because I don't want to pay for the ambulance ride because it's like $4,000. Javon?
How much that runs to ride?
Javon, did you have a question?
What if, like, they didn't have EpiPens for some reason? Like, what do we do? Do we give other kids, or do we just, like,
That's when you
say,
call
like,
911.
kid brain or something?
That's when you call 911.
Because is everyone's EpiPen different depending on their allergy?
It should not be.
Okay.
There might be a child that may need an adult one. They may need that larger dose of epinephrine.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you shouldn't use like another kid's sugar
No.
because they're like extremely expensive, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it's just like medication.
Well, it's prescribed to them. It's like you would not,
Yeah.
I would not give you my prescription medicine because it's my prescription.
Are they cheaper if you have a prescription? Because I know if you don't have a prescription and you try to buy one, they're like $500.
Insurance is what matters.
Okay.
Like if you have
Oh
insurance,
yeah. If your insurance will.
yeah. I pay $45 for 2 of them, but like otherwise it's $500-600.
I understand, sorry.
No, you're fine. Other questions about EpiPens? Okay. Next thing we're gonna talk about is asthma. Okay, so asthma is an illness which certain substances or conditions trigger. That's what it's called. It like triggers inflammation that constrict the airway. You guys don't have this because I didn't look it out in there, so just listen. People of any age can suffer from an asthma attack. Different triggers can be allergens, irritants such as tobacco smoke, air pollution, perfume, plants, mold, animal fur or feathers. Fear can actually trigger an asthma attack. Intense exercise, extreme changes in weather. And an asthma attack can become severe and life-threatening. You can often tell when a person is having an asthma attack by like a hoarse whistling sound that they make when they breathe. What are some other signs of an asthma attack?
Dude, I'm having an asthma attack.
Coughing. Coughing, yep. Very basic.
Shortness of breath.
Yep, trouble breathing, shortness of breath, wheezing. Huh?
One of my colleagues will do that, like when he's having trouble breathing.
They have a tightness in their chest, sitting upright or leaning forward, inability to talk without stopping for a breath, sweating, rapid shallow breathing, feelings of fear or confusion. So those are just some of the signs and symptoms of an asthma attack. So people who have been diagnosed with asthma are likely to have a personalized medication plan. They should take all medication exactly as prescribed by their healthcare provider. It usually comes in 2 different forms, either like a long-term control or a quick relief. So long-term control medicine prevents inflammation in the airway. These medicines work slowly and they can help to control asthma over long-term and should be taken every day, whether or not any signs or symptoms are happening. And your quick relief or your rescue medicine is gonna be what? An inhaler, yep. Page number. So what do you need to do if someone is having an asthma attack? Or if they're having trouble breathing?
Well, it depends, do you know the person?
Yeah, like if one of our kids,
And we know they have asthma and an inhaler?
yep, okay, get them their inhaler.
Well, I mean, like, I know a lot of kids don't really want to take it, so it's like trying to just like, hey, I think you need your inhaler. They don't want to stop what they're doing.
Having to take a break, sit down,
Yep,
drink water,
yep.
putting their hands on their head.
So if someone is having trouble breathing, it's considered a life-threatening emergency. Assist the person with their prescribed quick relief medication if requested and if permitted by, okay, this is Red Cross words. Get the medication to them as soon as possible and call 911 if breathing does not improve after 5 to 15 minutes or it worsens. Use only medication prescribed for that person and only if the person is having a severe asthma attack. Some inhalers contain long-acting preventative medications that should be used in an emergency. So again, this is where you need to talk to the parents of your children so you know what to do. And go farther than what you think you need to. If they're like, oh yeah, my son or daughter knows how to use their inhaler. Okay, that's great. Can you show me how to use it or what the steps are so that you can coach them if they have never had an asthma attack before and this is their first one, so you can coach them through how to do it. Because when you get into those emergency situations, not everyone reacts in an appropriate manner, and be that person that can be that steady and constant and guide them through that. Okay. What are 3 things you should check for before the person uses the inhaler? Tim?
The inhaler is theirs.
Yep, that it's prescribed to them.
If there's medicine in it, there's like numbers on them.
Okay? Yep, make sure it's not outdated or that it is actually full.
Well, if it's an inhaler, make sure there's nothing in it. I've definitely done that, where like thing gets lodged down my throat. Like, cause like sometimes it's in my purse and it doesn't have a cap,
Oh.
and then like little like pills, like my ibuprofen or something. And it's like I just like so then take my inhaler, I'm like,
That's not good.
I'm just saying.
I can just like envision that happening to me.
It doesn't help even after.
And then make sure the prescription is prescribed as quick relief for acute attacks. And then you should call 911 again if their breathing does not improve or worsens after 5 to 15 minutes. Huh?
What do they do? Just like, if their inhaler doesn't work,
Anna, can you answer that question?
What?
What happens if your inhaler doesn't work?
I don't know, next time we do nebulizer. I don't know, trying to do oxygen.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. But I don't know.
you'd want EMS because
No, I know. I just like I didn't know what they would do because
be terrified and go into a panic attack. I mean, legitimately, if you can't breathe. Like if their inhaler's not working and they can't breathe.
No, I know that. No, that's not what I was asking. Like I was wondering what the EMS gave them.
Oh, yeah. You put them on oxygen. Or some other medicines of some sort to get things to open up.
So, Amy.
Yep.
If we have, like, if the inhaler doesn't work, what would we do while we're waiting for the ambulance? Like, is there?
Have them put their hands on their head, open their lungs,
Okay.
Keep them calm,
yeah,
distract them,
Okay.
because it only makes it worse when you're focusing on like what you can't do. Okay.
Also breathing through your nose is really
And you can do that sometimes with like anxiety attacks too, if they like start to not be able to breathe, just get them to breathe in through their nose and out through their mouth. And and that, like, have them focus on, for an anxiety attack, like to get them to be able to breathe, focus on their breathing, not so much if you can't breathe, don't let them focus on that. Okay, what I want you guys to do, we are not gonna get through all of this today. So what I want you to do, because this is gonna be your homework assignment, but I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to get to work on it now. So I'm gonna give you instructions on what your homework assignment is. We're gonna do a get to know you game real quick, and then I'll give you time to work on your homework assignment, because it is as a group. Okay? And Claire, I want,
have to go in 5 minutes.
then you can go in 5 minutes. Claire, I want you to work with Mackenzie and Maddie with this. So, I want you guys to think about this summer and all of the different places you are going to be. Your assignment for tonight is to come up with a tracking system that you can use no matter where you are. If you are at a pool, if you are at a park, if you are here at the Y and some kids are going to Wilson Park and some kids are going here. You need to develop your tracking system. Adventure Camp, I want you to think in terms of pool. How are you going to track? And if it helps you to like come up with one, give a specific example for that tracking system. If you need to develop the zones, so like pick Fairfax or pick Lake Altoona, here are my zones, this is how I'm tracking. So as your rooms, as your groups, you need to come up with a tracking system and be able to present that tomorrow. Questions on that? Don't lose my content. So as a group, I need one tracking system. So one for Frog Pond, one for Fish Tank. Yep.
Do you just need our idea, or do you want like an actual?
I want to know what you are going to do. You don't need to like make all of the clips that you're going to use, or I just want to know what you're going to do and how you're going to handle it. And Discovery Camp, last year I think things did not go so well when you went to a pool. So think about that too. I don't remember. I think you guys went to, I was gone.
I think honestly it was like
Okay. Yeah, it was like a complete disaster. So just think about that too, because you're not always going to stay at the Y. Okay, get to know you activity. Everyone's going to stand up. We're going to make 2